Hello YouTube, thanks for joining me today. Ever since I did that video last week on everyday lessons in mindfulness, go back and check that one out if you haven't watched it already. I've been a lot more aware. I've been aware when I'm out in public. I've been aware when I'm driving. I've been just in general a lot more aware of my thoughts. And once you start becoming aware of your thoughts, and not getting caught up in them, it just kind of becomes more and more a habit as we go along. As I'm rereading this, The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer for the second time, I was really thinking yesterday, like sometimes you just like are meant to get a lesson at a certain time. Or I don't know, maybe you just see things differently when you look at them differently at different times or anything else whatsoever. But I've just been getting a lot out of it this time, and some of the lessons are really sinking in. And as I go further in my meditation practice and just reading more stuff like this, it just seems to get a little bit stronger. And sometimes somebody will, like, I'll notice the way somebody says something that maybe I didn't notice before. And just that one little thing can just maybe trigger something where I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. I don't remember where I wrote this down from. It may be a direct quote from the book, or it may just be some notes that I took. It was just in my phone notes, but it's a very good way to look at it. I like this. Instead of sitting in the stream of thoughts, sit on the bank and watch them flow by. In other words, instead of being in that stream of thoughts, getting caught and carried away by those, you can just sit on the bank. Like, thoughts arise, whether it's during meditation or whether it's in your everyday life. Thoughts constantly are just kind of going through, and they tend to stick, and it tends to get into those conversations and doubt and all kind of stuff when we start identifying them or judging what we're thinking about. And I think that's just like really the best way to look at it is just sitting back on the bank. And I've done that in a number of different ways, just like something passing by. In other words, when I'm meditating, or even just like I say in daily life, now I'm starting to notice like I'm having a thought, but I kind of just watch the thought. I don't let it get, I don't let myself get all involved with it. And when you start being aware of being aware, and your just awareness is there, you just realize there's this mental chatter that's going on in your head all day, and you can't tell me that you think that that mental chatter is something meaningful and important. There's just no way that we're programmed like that we should just like have conversations, voices, turmoil, problems, angst, whatever in our head all the time. So watching it like that, I've just found has been very beneficial. I did something else before I did this. I've been doing this a lot with my thoughts. Google AI mode has gotten really good for me about just kind of putting a whole bunch of things together. In other words, a lot of times I'll take notes, whether I'm reading a book or from various places, and then I'm like, oh God, where did I mark that? I don't know how to go back and find the thought that I came to. So what I tend to do now is I will just go in and ask Google these questions, and then I'll put it into AI mode. And the thing is, like, there are hallucinations. Hallucinations just mean screw ups on these AIs, but when you kind of know a little bit about the subject, you at least know they're not giving you something wrong, or it's not just making it up. I know a lot of people have trust issues when it comes to that, but for me, it's just been a great research tool. And I wanted to read you a little bit of what I got this morning when I was reflecting on this. And I just said to Google, what does Michael Singer say about watching your thoughts without judgment? And it says, Michael Singer says that watching your thoughts without judgment is the key to inner freedom and spiritual growth. By becoming the witness or observer of your thoughts rather than identifying with them. Listen to that again. By becoming the witness or observer of your thoughts rather than identifying with them, you can detach from the incessant mental chatter that causes stress and suffering. I'm doing this all day, every day now. Like I said in that last video, I come to a stoplight now, and I don't have that same mental chatter in my head. I just sit there. Now, a lot of times I have a podcast on, and it actually just kind of helps me pay more attention to the podcast, whereas in the past, I could ride around for 30 minutes and realize, okay, I don't even hardly know what's going on here. But I would just sit at the light. There's no hurry. I'm not like, oh my God, when's this thing going to change? Thoughts arise. I just let them go right by. Then it goes on to talk about the separation of self and thoughts. And it says Singer's central idea is to recognize that you are not the voice in your head, but rather the consciousness that is aware of that voice. The inner roommate, he often refers to the internal voice as an inner roommate that constantly narrates, judges, and worries. The roommate's advice is often driven by past fears and insecurities. And it's a natural phenomenon. The mind's chatter is a natural and innocent function, much like a computer performing its task. The problem, according to Singer, is not the mind itself, but that we have given it the impossible job of protecting us from the natural unfolding of life. And awareness is key. True freedom comes from realizing that you are the one who is aware of these thoughts. You are not these thoughts. And this awareness is the seat of consciousness, the true self. Been reading a lot of different stuff and listening to talks on consciousness and the true self as well recently. And the practice of non-judgmental observation. Don't fight the mind. You cannot win a battle against your mind by trying to silence it. Instead, he advises against participating in the chatter. And that's what I do right there. I caught myself yesterday. I had to go to Pensacola, Florida. And I'm riding along, and I'll do this sometime. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I've been isolated for the past 8 years. I spend 97% of my time by myself. I talk to myself. Now when I'm in the car, when I'm doing things, I just start noticing this mindless talking to myself, and I stop it. I just kind of like, okay, that was odd. But relax and release. The practical action is to relax your body and fall back behind the thoughts, observing them as a detached witness. You simply see the thoughts without getting involved or trying to stop them. And then you just allow them to pass. Just as you would watch leaves floating down a stream. You wouldn't try to get too caught up or follow anything going down the stream. It just goes by, and then you see something else. You can watch your thoughts like this without clinging to them or without pushing them away. They are temporary and will pass if you don't energize them with your attention. And the energy you use to invest in your negative thoughts becomes available to you once you stop feeding the inner turmoil. This shifts your consciousness from being focused on problems to experiencing the present moment. And this just all leads to kind of an inner freedom when we can, the outcome of watching our thoughts without judgment. By detaching from your thoughts and emotions, you discover that your inner freedom cannot be taken away by external events. That is something that, I was reading, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in another separate talk I've got coming, but I remember this from when I was locked up in Panama back in 2013. Very stressful situation. Didn't know what was going to happen. It was just, but that was a very spiritual situation for me because I kind of grasped this thing back then, but I've somehow lost it since then as well too. In other words, I was locked up. I had no choice. And I remember talking to people inside, and I was happy while I was in there, and I chose to be happy. And they were like, how can you be happy? And I'm like, well, what choice do I really have? I can't get out of here. So am I going to, exacerbate it by being all stressed out and moping and unhappy about it? But anyhow, he talks about genuine happiness, and the true unconditional happiness is an inner state that comes from your letting go of the resistance to life, which is getting caught up in those thoughts. You realize that events are not the problem, your resistance to them is. It's about becoming okay. Listen, we strive, like I've said this a number of times in a number of different ways. Yes, we strive to avoid bad outcomes. We want good outcomes, but where it really gets to be a problem is when we're not okay with any of the outcomes. In other words, do the best you can, be okay with the outcome. And keep an open heart. Keeping your heart open to life, no matter what happens, is more important than avoiding personal disturbances. Non-judgmental awareness allows this openness to flourish, leading to unending love and inspiration. You can get out of that endless stream of thought and conversation and all the things in your head. You can get out of like getting caught up in every single little detail you think you have in life and fretting about it and just making it worse. But anyhow, once again, I highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that has never read this book to give it a read. There's just like a whole lot of wisdom within there, and I'm just finding it even more of it the second time around. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please go hit that subscribe button and come back for more content like this. I'm slowly morphing into more content like this because this is what interests me the most, the food. Yeah, eat whole plant-based foods, but this is the good stuff for me anyhow. You guys have a beautiful week, and I'll see you here again soon. Peace.